This video is brought to you by Big Bad Toy Store. Make your purchases through my personal link in the description to help out the channel. Furthermore, if you want to support me more directly, you can check out my YouTube channel membership for fun emojis and sneak peeks, or my Patreon. Links in the description.
So, I'm still waiting for fodder, but in the meantime, I finally got my hand on this retro animated Spider-Man figure. If you refer to my channel, I've been making a kind of a habit to remove this horrific cell shading that plagues these otherwise really good looking figures. Like, this is what I think of when I think of Spider-Man. I love these eyes. I just love this really bright, nice blue. However, like I said, it's kind of plagued by these horrible design choices in that they need to have this stupid cell shading that doesn't really make any sense. The cell shading, like, okay, so if you look here, it's supposed to be like light, right? So the shadows should obviously be cast under the things that like protrude, like the chest muscles and like in here, because the light can't get to here. So one would assume it would be like up here-ish, right? But then like the legs don't really match up with that. Like the shadows are really consistent up here, and then suddenly here it's like a side light, because it doesn't have any shadow on this side, but it does on this side. So I would assume the light hits from like this angle, so it just doesn't really make any sense. Not to mention that it looks absolutely terrible. So the first thing you want to do when you want to remove this horrible cell shading is to take note of what plastic is actually used. And on this leg, we should be fine, because this is cast in blue plastic, and so is this one. And however, the crux kind of comes in when you look at this, because you can't really tell what color this entire torso bit is. So you have to kind of look into like the machinery in here. So if you pull the arm forward, you can see that in here, well, you can't really see because of the lights, but it's actually red. So yeah, this entire section is red, and so I assume is this lower torso bit as well. The arms, you can kind of look down here and you can see that it's also red. So unfortunately, it's gonna be really difficult to remove all this cell shading and preserving the paint. Well, for starters, we can start with the legs, because the legs are gonna be easy, and the legs are also kind of the most horrible looking thing. So we have this magic eraser here, and we're just gonna wipe this until the paint comes off. And the reason why I do a magic eraser is because, like, acetone works, or like any type of nail polish remover, but I am a little bit worried about it ultimately, like, screwing with the plastic. This doesn't leave anything. It's literally just a sponge that removes paint. So as you can see, this looks completely flawless. It's like it was never painted at all. So we'll just do this for a bit. I don't really know actually how this like magic eraser works, but somehow it just does. Okay, so the legs are fixed and it is pretty much flawless. However, I was a little bit stumped on the torso, just because of how obnoxious the entire thing is with it being red plastic for the most part. So I actually looked up and see if anyone else did it, and I found this video by Comically Toys, and he was using, I think he was using some kind of acetone, and he gently rubbed the plastic with a little swab, and apparently the paint is caked on so thick that you can kind of remove the top layer and preserve the paint underneath. So I'm just gonna try that, and if I screw up too much, I'm going to go in with I think electric blue is gonna be like a decent paint match. So let's try to swab the paint away for now, and I'm using some nail polish remover, but I made sure that there is no acetone whatsoever in the mix. So got a little bit on here. See, brighten up a little bit, but oh, this thing smells so bad. Okay. However, I am very impatient, and I don't know, maybe I think this might just be a little bit too slow for me, so I might just paint the entire thing. I wonder how deep this blue actually goes, because I kind of stopped being too careful now, and I'm just kind of rubbing it, and nothing really seems to be coming off. I got these Gundam cotton swabs for like the little detail work like in here. Okay, so I removed most of it, but as you can see, the paint is starting to come away a little bit, like here and up here. So eventually the blue does chip away, but I can fix that with some Vallejo blue. For now, we're going to keep working, and we're going to go for the biggest annoyance, which I think is this part here. And it looks like this plastic is reacting a bit differently to this remover than the arms does. I think it's because it's a harder type of plastic. And as for the red, you see the shading goes in on the red here. I'm gonna have to try to paint over that, because I don't really want to try to mess with the webbing or anything. Just gonna kind of wipe away nail polish remover so it doesn't eat away at the plastic. I'm not really sure if it's still gonna eat away at it because there's no acetone in it, but I've had this damage a head I used it on at one point, so you can never really be too careful. Okay, as you can see here, I kinda just played it a bit careful around the red because I don't want to repaint red. Well, I'm gonna have to regardless, but the less red I have to repaint, the better, because red is a pretty tricky color to get right, especially one as bright as this. So we're gonna try to repair all the paint here, like here where I couldn't reach and here where I rubbed the paint off, with some electric blue. And I'm gonna mix it slightly with some Vallejo flat blue as well. So yeah, let's see how this turns out. And we're gonna have to wait until the paint dries to see what a color match it is, because that's just how paint works. Wait, hold up, I'm an actual idiot. I kind of forgot that everything isn't blue plastic. Some of it is actually red. So, like these boots, I can just go in and clean them up. Like this, I think. Yes, I can. I mean, it's gonna take a while, and I need to probably clean up the web lines a little bit, but still, it comes off really nicely. Wow, I am an idiot. I completely forgot about that. And these really thin, pointy Gundam cotton tips really help with keeping this a lot cleaner than I would normally be able to do. I'm gonna show up here too on the glove. You see, slowly but surely. One layer gone. Okay, so now I've removed the cell shading here. It's like a little bit sloppy, but I don't really care at this point. And I don't really want to make it too obnoxious to refill in these web lines, but that's what we're gonna do. And these web lines aren't gonna be perfect by any means, but you know, neither are Hasbro's official web lines, so I can live with it. Okay, so clear coat on. He's a bit more matte now. He's still a bit shiny under this like spotlight I'm pointing at him. The cell shading is pretty much all removed. There's only like this little bit here, but honestly it doesn't really matter because you can barely see it as it is. All the shading here on the underarm is gone. I think the paint match is pretty much perfect. So this pretty much is my like quintessential Spider-Man, like John Romita Sr. style head. The more brighter colors and the less like super defined muscly body that Marvel Legends seems to love to put on Spider-Man. This is the guy who I've been having on my shelf for the longest time, but I think he's like too bulky. Like his thighs are massive and he can't really stand in a neutral position because the hips kind of keep dropping down whenever you like try to straighten them out. You see like this, and now the hips are down, and he's just so bulky, and I don't really like it. This guy is so much more vibrant and bright, and I much prefer this eye design over this one. So yeah, love this guy, how this turned out. So yeah, thank you for watching and hope you enjoyed.
New York City. If only everything down there was really as peaceful as it looks from up here. Well, Bruce, I saved the world again. And what do I get for it? As usual, zilch. Nada. Nothing. That's what.